We'll learn more, not just about the Gulf, but about the ocean around the world, more than during all preceding history put together. At the same time, we've lost more.
The Hart Research Institute is a privately endowed part of Texas A&M University, Corpus Christi that focuses on the Gulf of Mexico.
Like other marine science institutes, HRI does basic research, but what makes us unique is that we take expertise in socioeconomics, marine policy and law, and combine them to create a synergy to take that science and apply it to solving problems. And that's what we're all about at HRI, taking science and solving problems.
Because of your efforts, we can ensure that we save this dynamic environment for the benefit of all generations that come behind us.
Hart Research Institute, que es una institución única en el Golfo de México.
And there is a place, and it's a place that needed to be filled. And the Hart Research Institute is really stepping into those shoes and running with it.
If you drive a car, love air conditioning, use plastic containers, or enjoy seafood, the Gulf is important to you. Over 4,000 miles of coastline forms its northern border and encompasses a diverse array of habitats, from coral reefs and hypersaline lagoons to emergent wetlands and vast seagrass meadows.
The Gulf of Mexico itself can be a laboratory, a place where we can find that balance between both economic and environmental health.
A sustainable balance that benefits us now, even decades from now, or hundreds of years from now.
The future of our oceans literally hangs in the balance of what we do today.
Population, particularly in coastal areas, is projected to grow into the foreseeable future. Associated economic development continues to erode the foundations of ecosystem health and function.
How do we use the Gulf of Mexico without using it up? How do we take care of the place while we still conduct the kinds of activities that people have become accustomed to? How do we inspire people to care? It starts with knowing. Ed Hart was already considering making a major gift to the city of Corpus Christi, in some way, the community. And of course the university, Texas A&M at Corpus Christi, appeared to be the appropriate beneficiary, but the idea of developing a research center that ultimately became the Hart Research Institute.
I had read a book called Sea Change by Sylvia Earle, and it convinced me that the oceans and the fisheries of the world are in desperate shape. And I thought, well, if I want to do something for Corpus Christi, which I did, what was the best vehicle for doing that? That would be the University, A&M University of Corpus Christi. How do you try to direct what you want done to the Gulf of Mexico? And so that's how it happened.
He said, make a difference. And that wasn't followed by pages and pages of, and this is how I mean for you to make a difference. He left it to those who were gathered around to figure it out. So make a difference for the Gulf of Mexico, make a difference for Corpus Christi, make a difference for Texas, make a difference for the world.
Hart's model, founded by Ed Hart, who as a visionary realized the need for a holistic approach and the importance of working collaboratively with all who bordered the Gulf of Mexico, the United States, Cuba, and Mexico, in order to make a difference.
At this point in history, pull the strings together, connect the dots, see where various aspects of our interests come together.
When evaluating choices affecting the Gulf of Mexico, there must be a balance between economic development and environmental protection.
I think the next 10 years may be the most important in the next 10,000 years. Not just for the Gulf of Mexico, although that's really important, but for the whole world. We're right on the edge of so many decisions.
Will the Gulf have important coral reefs for years to come?
How do we develop offshore oil and gas and still have a sustainable Gulf of Mexico?
Will Gulf communities continue to thrive?
Will the Gulf develop policies that reach beyond political interests?
Will the Gulf continue to sustain all of our community's needs, from economic to our connection with the natural environment?
The resiliency upon which ecosystem health and function has drawn to balance the impacts of economic development is tested by climate change. Sea level rise, a significant issue for the low-lying Gulf Coast, and ocean acidification are critical tipping forces with which to contend.
We need to plan for the future landscape with sea level rise, not just 30 years down the road, but 100 years or more.
The Gulf of Mexico has become iconic for having one of the first and biggest, most notable of these so-called dead zones off the mouth of the Mississippi River. Didn't exist in the 1950s, but it's certainly a phenomenon during summer months now, year after year after year.
At the Hart Research Institute, leaders in the field work to create an understanding of the fundamental issues of ecosystem health and resiliency. They then bring that science to bear on the resource management challenges facing the Gulf and develop the policy and governance frameworks to implement and sustain that balance.
One thing is certain. We have to take actions now before it's too late.
We now know that there are over 15,000 species that live in the Gulf of Mexico.
Dr. Wes Tunnell is leveraging his research to maximize the information available on the Gulf. He has published on coral reefs and other life in the Gulf. His work on a comprehensive research series, Logging the Biodiversity of the Gulf, is a key element in understanding what's at stake when decisions are made about this vast body of water.
And Wes Tunnell and his colleagues really were the ones who drove that to full status as it is now.
Dr. Larry McKinney, Executive Director of the Hart Research Institute, has made integrating all sectors of industry and all the countries affected by the Gulf a part of the conversation through gatherings like the State of the Gulf of Mexico Summit. Vested interests from around the Gulf can come together to find solutions that can be applied around the world.
The Gulf of Mexico remains one of the most productive bodies of water on the entire planet.
But what we find at this summit, and we're finding at this summit, that we have a lot of common interests too, a lot of common ground.
De decir que el Hart se ha convertido en uno de los puentes de comunicación más importantes entre México y Estados Unidos en materia de lo que está sucediendo con los ecosistemas marinos del Golfo de México.
Dr. Richard McLaughlin fosters the process of collaboration between nations in order to create sound marine policies. He's worked with various governments and organizations to find political solutions to the environmental issues that affect multiple nations.
Focusing on common interests that help to manage the Gulf as one large, interconnected marine ecosystem.
The strategic location of the Hart Research Institute in Corpus Christi, not so far from the Mexican border, is one advantage.
While Dr. Paul Montagna is best known for his work to evaluate the effects of the BP Deepwater Horizon oil spill, his expertise on freshwater inflow into the Gulf of Mexico has informed a number of decisions to manage the world's most valuable resource, water.
Everything people do on land will affect the Gulf.
Dr. Greg Stuns is the founding director of the Hart Research Institute's Sportfish Research Center. His extensive field research with sharks, for example, creates the necessary data to develop sound sport fishing regulations.
We provide the science necessary to manage our resources for future generations.
Dr. David Yaskowitz brings an economic perspective to issues that impact the Gulf of Mexico region. By determining the economic impact of various environmental issues, the Hart Research Institute is able to give decision makers a complete look at the benefits of conserving the Gulf.
We need to integrate the value of our Gulf natural resources into decisions today so they will be around tomorrow.
What we're making plans for now is for an enduring future for humans. It's not how much can we get out now for the next quarter or even the next quarter century. This is for an enduring future. We're trying to write a policy that will be a lasting one for a good relationship with humans and the natural systems in the Gulf, in the world, that keep us alive and supply everything we care about, the economy, our health, our security, fundamentally, life itself.